Welcome back to the Level Up blog, where I talk about life, games, and trying to get a little bit better every day. If I look back on my 20s, most important moments and memories have a video game attached to them. This isn't because all I did was play games, but more because gaming, in a lot of ways, kept my relationships alive and was connected to my big moments. So today isn't a list of best games. It's about the games that actually shaped my 20s because of the people that I shared them with. So let's start with the games that built my friendships, the ones that pulled me into adulthood with the right people by my side. The first that comes to mind for me is Skyrim. My roommates and I in college, longtime buddies of mine, were not big gamers, but I got them into it a little bit, starting with Skyrim. We would drag our TVs into the living room and we would play all night sometimes and miss class the next day because we were still sleeping in. It was really fun to set up the TVs side by side and to go through the adventure together. We were not doing the same things, but we were in the same room. It reintroduced gaming into my adult life, as I hadn't played in many years prior to that. And it reminded me of my high school days playing Call of Duty and many other games, and how gaming is 10 times better with people by my side. Skyrim wasn't just a game. It was the beginning for me of realizing that gaming was going to be a social anchor. Another game that I can recall playing in my earlier mid-20s with friends was Pokémon games. Me and a friend, my buddy Tanner, we bought DS's as grown adults. We went to GameStop and went and picked some up and grabbed a few games while we were at it. We started with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and that was the first time I had played that game. It was a lot of fun. We established a precedent for all of our future runs with Black and White and Sun and Moon, where we kept our team secret from one another outside of trade Pokemon. And after we beat the Elite Four, we would have our final battle with one another. It was competitive, but in a fun and kind of silly way. Minecraft was another that I can recall being one that I really noticed the social aspect was what made gaming fun for me and memorable. My buddy Jared and I started a server together, and I really hadn't played Minecraft much before that, but he showed me how to have fun in Minecraft. For us, we grew up together and we didn't really play games, but it was interesting how this game, Minecraft, ended up being a bridge between our childhood and our adulthood. And we even continued playing for years after being college roommates, even though we were states apart, and maintained a relationship talking about life while we were mining or finding a village so that we could, trap them in their little cells and make them work. Sometimes we were just doing nothing together, but it was fun, and it provided a steady relationship builder for us. Then there are other games that fit in that same line. As life got busier, friends moved, and everyone's schedules changed. Adulthood really hit fast for us. And so the next games I want to talk about didn't really build the friendships, they usually kept them alive. Mobile Legends, maybe not the most popular game, is one that I discovered shortly after it came out. It's a mobile app, very similar to Dota or League of Legends, but on the phone. It was my social hub for years. I introduced it to so many people, and it didn't really stick for most people, but it did stick for my sister, her husband, my wife, and my buddy Jared. In fact, to this day, we still play. The game uses 5-man squads, and we'll often team up as a team of 5 and play the game together. We'll end up playing too late sometimes, and we all have kids, and it's never good because the kids will be up at the same time in the morning, no matter what. It's something, though, that has kept us connected when nothing else seems to line up. Another game along that vein is Apex Legends. I really, disclaimer here, am super bad at Apex. All my friends know it that I play with. but it's something that's really helped keep us in touch with one another. It can get frustrating, and often we'll quit after we play for a few weeks because we're just not good. But it's fun. It's really fun to get together and play, and you talk about the stresses of life, what's going on at work, what's going on with family, anything else. Catch up on what's going on with their families, their immediate family, but also their siblings and their parents. And we have a lot of fun, despite always getting third-partied because of me always running off on my own. Then there were the games that really weren't about friendship at all, but for me were about survival, and ended up being cemented in my memory because of that. These games carried me through burnout from my job, stress from school, and seasons of life that ended up being heavier than I ever expected, like when we had our daughters. Games that carried me through were things like Planet Zoo. It's not maybe the most popular game. It's an evolution, I believe, of the Zoo Tycoon series that I played when I was a kid. But it was after I built my first PC, I started playing that as well as another game called Total War 3 Kingdoms. For me, both of these games were something where I could go and turn my brain off of work and life and just dive into these other worlds that had complex systems that required me to think about those things, and I didn't have any spare room in my brain to think about the other things. They brought structure to a time in my life that felt really chaotic, and I'm sure that many of you watching have had similar experiences or have similar games that were the game that sort of carried you through darker or more difficult times in your life. Burnout is so common these days, and part of my channel being about leveling up, I don't want to be feeling burnt out all the time. This channel for me is something that builds me, and these games were the same. Two others that fit that period of my life, or those times in my life, were Baldur's Gate 3 and Cyberpunk. They both have an emotional weight to them that really pulls you in, lets you live through V's eyes, for example, to feel those feelings instead of the feelings and difficulties that are going on in your own life. Cyberpunk, for one, caught me way off guard. It's one of the only games that has ever brought tears to my eyes. But these games grounded me during tough seasons of my life. Then, some games that are really important to me are ones that connected me with my wife. Some of my favorite memories from my 20s aren't from guys' nights or late night queues on Apex. They're gaming with my wife. Often it would be set up where my wife was sitting on the couch playing her Switch, while I was sitting on the love sack playing who knows what on my PC or on my Xbox. I'd be playing My Time at Portia on the Xbox while she played the same on her Switch. Again, we weren't doing the same quests or the same jobs or the same anything in the same moment. We weren't on the same screen, but there's something so connecting about building a little life together in parallel. There was a quiet rhythm that we settled into where this was pre-kids often, where we would get together and we'd sit down, and sometimes we'd be on opposite ends of the couch even, and our feet intertangled as we played games that were cozy, that were really fun, that brought us closer together despite us not playing at the same time. Sims 4 is another one of those games. I would sit behind her. She built all of the places where we used to live, an apartment, a duplex, when we lived with family. She'd rebuild these places in Sims, and then she'd turn it over to me, and I would min-max everything with the characters, which, future video, I can never stop doing. It became a really shared, cozy game where we were kind of playing the same file in the same world, but we weren't really playing together. And we still play it some together. Then, for me, one of the other things that gaming connected with me in my 20s was games that made me feel like a kid again. The games that reminded me who I was before adulthood got complicated. The childhood classics for me, some of them were Dynasty Warriors with my cousin Michael, Lego Star Wars, Super Mario 64, GoldenEye, Just Cause 2, 3, and we even got into 4 later. I had moved I had moved in with my cousin and his family, my aunt and uncle, after college got a little too difficult and I wanted to take a break. We reconnected, him and I, through a lot of these games. He was like a brother to me most of my life, and we kind of became estranged a little bit in our early 20s. This brought us back together, so close, and we replayed a lot of these games and played some new ones together. It created some of the greatest memories I have in my life. Sea of Thieves is another one that him and I and others would play a lot together. It has that adult child energy. The pirates, it's a fun game. It's so chaotic. I would never be helpful. I always stood at the front of the boat just playing music while my buddies were trying to be in the crow's nest or at the wheel or fixing things up. I was always the antagonist or whatever to the group, and it was a lot of fun. It distilled memories, though, that are cemented forever. So when I look back on my 20s, I do remember the games, but even more so, I remember the memories that stick, being the people that are tied with those games. Introducing Skyrim to my buddy Jared, my Pokémon rivalries with my buddy Tanner, cozy nights with my wife, Minecraft servers that kept friendships alive, strategy games that got me through the burnout and stressful stages, and late night Apex talks that kept us close. Now, the thing I'm most excited for, I really want to share this world with my daughters someday. Not because I want them to become gamers, but because I know how much joy and connection gaming can bring, and I want those memories with my daughters. If they get even a fraction of what gaming gave me, I'll be grateful. So these are the games that shaped my 20s, because they shaped the people I shared them with. Thanks for taking some time to listen to me ramble on again today. I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.